Why, hello there again. Mr. Steinecker, right back at you. So in the last video, I did a brainstorm where I thought of some different topics for a narrative, and then I planned out a basic plot diagram for the story I was telling about when I was a missionary and a drunk guy tried to kiss me and I almost got beat up. Super great story, right? So today, I want to take that plot diagram and I want to practice putting in some imagery, okay? So imagery is using the 5 senses. It makes a story more interesting and vivid. And so what I want to ensure is that as I'm actually writing out this story into my word processor, Google Doc, Word, whatever, I have included imagery, made the story more interesting for my readers, okay? So in this format with this Google Doc, there's not like a super easy way to do this, but I noticed right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 specific places in my story. So I think what I'm actually going to do is make a table with 7 rows for each of those parts, okay? And now what I'm just going to do, I find that brainstorming a list is really helpful. I'm going to hit enter, put this on its own page, okay? So what I'm just going to do is I'm not going to worry about making it sound like a story just yet, but what I'm just going to do is I'm going to brainstorm all the possible sensory details, which would be sensory. How do you spell that? There we go. Okay, would be seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling. Okay, anything that I can think of that happens in these different moments in my story is going to flesh out the story. And so as I'm actually writing this out, I can put in these sensory details as I see fit. Okay, I'm even, you know what? I'm going to color code them to match up with what they are showing on the document because I just feel like it. Lucky you, you get to watch me hurry and color code these things, okay? So basically, to get this started off, let's do our example of the exposition, okay? So I already said that I was running to the bus, it's nighttime, Argentina, 9 p.m., we passed a bar, okay? Specific details that I think will help to make this more real for my readers. First of all, it was summertime. I did not say that. So it was kind of hot and humid. And actually, one detail that I remember feeling a lot of days, because in Argentina in the summer, it got pretty warm. It was like I was wearing like a white collared shirt, and my collared shirt had sweat on it and was like a little sticking to my body. You know, kind of a gross detail, but it's going to make the narrative more effective, okay? Of course, it was dark. I don't think I mentioned that, though. And one thing that you might not know if you were not in the city is that they didn't have, like, the best street lighting. We were running towards the main road where there was lots of good lighting, but the road we were on was like a little side road, okay? So we were running from a poorly lit side road to the main road, okay? And that's all I can think of for now for exposition, but that already gives us a bit more detail than we had before. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. Is that too much? Yep, that's too much. But that works. Okay. Next up, my inciting incident. My buddy Aaron drops his papers. I didn't notice and kept running. Maybe I will try to describe what that might have looked like to the guys coming out of the bar, right? Because Aaron and I were probably... I mean, I don't know our exact height difference, but like I'm just gonna guess there was like 1.5 feet to 2 feet difference between us, okay? It's been a while since I met my buddy, so I don't know if that's still the case, but I'm just gonna say it must have been funny. Oops, that is really bold, okay? Must have been funny to see a skinny white kid like running like crazy while a shorter, also white kid stooped to pick up a bunch of pictures, right? Stuff. And that was honestly one of the first way, come to think of it, that I knew that these guys were coming out of the bar and that they were laughing at us. It was actually because I heard them, right? Because I was looking towards the bus stop. So I think that's important to mention. Maybe before I even say that, I'm going to say, you know, I could hear or I heard people laughing at us. And then I turned to see the people coming out of the bar. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I could probably say it here since it was Easter time. Oh, this is where I'll say it was Easter time. They were on vacation or something, or they had the day off. I don't really know. I'm going to say they had the day off, probably. Okay. Now this big drunk guy part. Okay, I already mentioned that he had a shirt on his head. I didn't say big guy still had his own shirt plus extra shirt, which to me means like maybe shirt, whoops, which means that maybe he took it from someone who in the bar or something. He was a huge guy. I should probably describe how big, right? He was taller than me. At the time, I was probably close to 6 feet. I want to say this guy was like 6.5 to 7 feet tall. He was pretty tall, okay? And he was really like large too, like large and fat, okay? Ooh, and so far I've only said things I'm seeing and a little bit of what I'm hearing. But you know what? When this guy came up to me, I could smell the alcohol on him. I don't know if he'd been drinking all day, but it was bad. He was stinky. And that's one of the main reasons, besides the fact that I wasn't really comfortable with the baso thing. I didn't want to kiss him because he stank, okay? He stank of alcohol. Like he just reeked. And I could smell like on his breath and everywhere. So that is a really important detail that I think I'm going to add in probably like right before I didn't want to baso him. All right, now let's go up to here. Okay, I tried offering the handshake. Oh, one thing I didn't say when I tried offering them the handshake, I'm gonna put this down here at the bottom. I thought it would be okay if I like smiled really big and I was like, "Happy Easter, sir," right? So I stuck out my arm really straight to try to keep distance, and then like smiled like kind of fake big. I don't know how to describe it else right now. Okay, now as far as this guy, I already described how his face twisted into anger as I shook his hand. In between that and when he follows us to the bus stop, I think I need to describe maybe I was a little nervous, right? I don't know the exact feeling now, but I'm going to try to be as true to my memory as possible here. I think it would be realistic to say that my stomach started to like twist the way that it can when you have anxiety. That's something that used to happen a lot to me when I was a kid. So I'm going to say that. I think that is accurate. And this brings up an important detail. When you're writing narrative, a lot of writers will say it's true insofar as you remember it, right? You can't qualify every 5 seconds to say, I think this is what happened. Because honestly, nobody's memory is perfect. You could tell me something that happened yesterday and you might remember some things a little off. So you need to try to be as true as possible to the experience and your memory of the experience. It's okay if you're not 100% sure. Like, I don't know for sure if my stomach twisted exactly, but I think it probably did. So I think it's okay to say that here, okay? So he follows us to the bus stop. He yells, "Happy Easter." I try to ignore him. When I try to ignore him, I don't know how to describe that, but I felt like a deer in the headlights because I didn't really know what else to do. When all the cars are looking at us, I think maybe that's a good moment to throw something out. Like after he said, no, nothing's going on, everybody look forward. That's where in my head I was like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. Like I should have already known that, but like here's where I was like, uh-oh. I don't remember if my buddy Aaron said like anything. I think we were both kind of just in shock. So maybe I'll add that too. As far as what I hear, I didn't hear either of us say anything because we're just in shock. Oh, you know what I also do remember now? And I only remember this now that I'm talking about it. That guy swore at me a lot, like a lot. And I didn't know most of the words, but you can tell from context if someone is swearing at you. And maybe I'll say that because that's kind of funny, right? I didn't know all the words, but could tell from the context. You son of a bleep. Like, okay, obviously they swore, right? Okay, cool. So now the climax. This is definitely where I want to include some more imagery. The jump guy jumps forward. Oh yeah, I didn't even say what he was going to say, did I? Yeah, I'm going to break your head in. Okay, I did say that. He tries to attack me. He has a friend following behind. I didn't mention his friend is apparently more sober. Whoops. And was like pretty thin in comparison. Much smaller, closer to my size. Not as skinny as me, but like he was very similar to my own size. So it's surprising he was able to restrain his buddy. Okay. Honestly, I don't remember exactly. At that point, Did I have a cold sweat on my body? Because like when you get really scared or anxious, you can like break out into like a little bit of a clammy, like cold sweat. I'm not sure. And that's when I'm not sure if I feel comfortable saying because I'm not sure it's 100% accurate. But I do know my brain was just like completely turned off. I did not know what the crap to do. I was just so confused. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Following election, we look over, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'll add to that. I could write it up here, but I'm just going to say it down here. The bus driver was like frantically motioning for us to come over. It wasn't just like a little bit. It was like, holy crap, what are you doing? Come on, come on, come on. And I'm 90% sure that when we were leaving, I said something like, okay, bye, or something like that. I'll think more about what that was that I actually said. But my brain was turned off, and I was, as a missionary, I was always trying to be polite to people, so I'm pretty sure I still said something like, we gotta go. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know in another experience on my mission that did happen, though, where somebody said something really bad, and we had to run, and I was like, okay, we gotta go, bye. That's just who I am sometimes, apparently, okay? So we ran in the bus. I sat down. Maybe I'll say something about that. The buses, generally speaking, were pretty crowded. There was enough empty seats, but we had to search for an empty seat when we got on the bus. And I forgot to make small talk with driver. I think I said that in my last video. Okay. Search an empty seat. And I would describe when you're relieved and you sit down, we like flopped onto those seats. And I don't remember if Aaron said something to me in this moment, and I don't want to invent words for him. But I think just as easily we could have just been sitting there in stunned silence. I know we were for at least part of the ride. So, you know what I really should do is I should contact my buddy Aaron and say, hey, do you remember this? What other things do you remember, right? Doing research into your own life is a thing when you're writing about your own experiences. But whatever, okay? Let's see, any other things? I don't know, maybe people on the bus were watching us, but I can't remember that for sure, so I'll avoid that, okay? Now, resolution, my resolution happened in the same place, so I don't think there's going to be a lot more imagery to add here. I would say, though, as I kind of thought about what I had just gone through, you know how they say your life flashes before your eyes when you're about to die? I think you could also say, in this case, as I was sitting there, the events of that experience were flashing back through my mind, right? Because I was trying to think about what just happened, right? So I might say something like that, okay? Cool. So as you can see, doing this sort of imagery brainstorm can be really useful. Sometimes you get so caught up in saying, okay, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, that you forget to slow down and really help paint a picture to your readers of what was actually happening to you. If you can use all 5 senses, it really makes this experience seem a lot more like a movie that this person is able to vicariously live through and be able to experience for themselves. And so now what I would do is I would actually create a Google Doc, a brand new Google Doc or a Word doc or something. And I'm going to kind of just start off with what I have here. But now, whenever one of these things is relevant, I'm going to go and add in the imagery that I brainstormed. And so I've effectively, I think I've doubled the length of what I was going to write just from this. If other details pop into mind while I'm writing, I'm going to add them too. But this is really going to help my narrative, I think, to be more interesting and feel like you're actually there. So I hope seeing this example helps you and gave you some ideas for what to do as you're brainstorming your own stories, whether that is a nonfiction narrative of something you are experiencing, or whether that is a fictional narrative of something that you're just making up. Either way, it really benefits from brainstorming imagery. If you have any questions or if you want feedback on a specific idea and something you're working on, you can post it in the comments. You could even say, hey, this is the little element of the plot I've got. What questions do you have to spark my thinking to help me move forward? Anyway, thanks for watching the video and have a great time writing your own stories.